Alright, so this program, this demonstration is going to be the speed conversion table. So let me zoom in a little bit. Alright, it says your friend Amanda just inherited a European sports car from her uncle. Amanda lives in the United States and she is afraid she will get a speeding ticket because the car's speedometer indicates kilometers per hour. She has asked you to write a program that displays a table of speeds in kilometers per hour with their values converted to miles per hour. The formula for converting kilometers per hour to miles per hour is, so here's our algorithm. This is our sequence algorithm. The table that your program displays should show speeds from 60 kilometers per hour through 130. Now, see how it goes from 60 kilometers to 130 on here? I think what we're going to do is we're going to have like a lower bound speed and an upper bound speed that they have to enter both in kilometers per hour. So we're doing increments of 10. Okay. After thinking about this table of values, you decide that you will write the following code: a class named speed converter that can perform the conversions from kilometers per hour to miles per hour, program that creates an instance of speed converter class and uses that object to convert the sequence. Okay, cool. So I'm actually going to write this in Notepad. I actually set this up beforehand because it's just writing in Notepad's easier because my computer's so slow. So anyway, I create a main speed conversion class and I create a speed conversion class, and I'm going to import the scanner class here, and I'm going to import the decimal formatter here. So anyway, let's do this. Speed conversion, my speed conversion equals new speed conversion. Okay. And I'm going to have my scanner object created. Scanner class. Alright, so you're going to want, now I know it says do a table from 60 to 130, but that's kind of hard coding stuff, and I don't like doing that. I like it dynamic so that you guys can enter anything you want. So in order to do that, we're going to ask the user please enter a lower bound kilometers per hour, and we'll say double low kph is going to be equal to my scanner dot next double, and we'll do a upper bound kilometers per hour. So please enter an upper bound kph. So we'll call this one upper kph. Now, just for some error checking, we can do a while loop. While, because we're going to go from low to high. We can't go from, if they enter like 150 here and then 30 here, that's not the table that we want. We want to have like 30 here and 150 here. So while, we'll say upper kph is greater than low kph, then we'll just redo this. only we don't want to redefine our variables. They've already been defined. Okay, so please enter a lower bound, please enter an upper bound. So while upper, now wait a second, while upper, we want to make sure while it's less than the lower, while this is lower than that, then we would redo it basically. Okay, and so this forces us to enter a lower number in the lower bound, kilometers per hour, and a higher number in the upper bound, kilometers per hour right here. Okay, so that's just some error checking. It's not really necessary other than you know, like in school, the error checking stuff we don't really do a whole lot of, but this is kind of obvious. So anyway, now that we got our two variables, okay, now we can pass those in. We'll say my speed conversion dot set conversion table, and we'll pass in the low kph and the upper kph. Okay. All right, so those will get passed in, and once we have these, we can do our for loop and create our table. Okay, so in here, let me just copy this real quick. I'm gonna put this right there, and I'm gonna say public public void, because we're not really returning anything here. We're just trying to display the table. Okay, so public void, and I have an error here because I need to make these, I think they were doubles. Yeah, they were, I made them doubles in main. So we'll say double there. And we'll do what I always do. I always do my low kph equals low kph, and my upper kph equals upper kph. Okay, so say double my low kph and my upper kph. Okay, so now we can do let me think here. We want to do a decimal formatter, so we format this thing properly, because we're using, if we look at the, where is it at? Right here. This is going to give us a decimal number, and I don't really want it with a lot of decimal places, so we're going to format it. So you'll get to see how that works. So we'll say decimal format. And remember, you have to import it up here in order to use the methods in it and everything. So we'll call it decimal format df equals new decimal format. And we'll say that it's going to be in the format of, so there's only going to be 2 spaces, okay? 2 decimal points. Okay. So now we can say system.out.println, and we can create our table. We'll say kph, and system.out.println, and we'll say something like that. Okay, now we can do our for loop, and before we do that, we actually have to create our miles per hour variable. Okay, so our for loop will start, and we'll say double, I think here, double kph equals my low kph. And then we'll say kph is less than or equal to my upper kph. So then we do kph plus equals 10 because we're incrementing by 10. Okay, so this is going to be the lower bound. We'll start there. As long as our lower bound is less than or equal to the upper bound, then we'll add 10 to it each time. Okay, so we'll say mph is equal to kph times 0.6214, and we'll say if I don't want to do this. I don't know. What? Maybe we just don't do that. We'll just do. We'll say kph plus and then some blank spaces. Now, if you want to, you can format this thing properly. I'm just gonna, because it's gonna come up and it's not gonna be perfect. But I'm gonna try to see. I try to put a few spaces in here so that you can see how it looks like. But that's basically it. So each time it's going to add 10 to this kph, whatever it is. So if you enter 5 here, if you entered 5 for the lower and 100 for the upper, then this would be 5. 5 times this would give you miles per hour, and that would display right there, and kph would be 5. And then we would add 10 to it. Go back at 10 to it, make it 15. So it would be 15 times this. That would give you the new miles per hour, and it would display here, and this would display 15. And so your table's being built, and everything's running properly until it's done. So go ahead, type this in, and test it on your own in NetBeans, and you should be able to build your table properly. It should work. And this is again pretty easy, but we did demonstrate 2 different loops. We demonstrated a while loop for testing purposes, and then we demonstrated this for loop where you initialize your variable. You've got a Boolean condition to make sure that it's true in order to run the loop. If it is true, it does everything inside the loop, and then it adds 10 to your initialized variable, this one kph right here. So this video is done.